It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
People love chips and salsa.
Guess what? We're back, and it's time for another edition of the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. I am your host, Alice Lara, and I told you that we would have a surprise for you. And da-da-da-da, he's back.
When she says it, she means it. When she says it, she means
Yeah. So today is A to Z, Alice to Zeke-nator.
AZ like Arizona.
Well, so happy to have you back, and this is a permanent deal. He's not just visiting. He's going to be back until they take him away again.
Until they take me away again. Until the overlords take me away again. And I go through another warp zone.
Ooh, so excited. So, of course, welcome back, Zeke.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you back.
Thank you.
And I know that our audience is dying to know, what the heck, dude? What can you tell us about your adventure and your back and all that?
You know, honestly, guys, I'm like super happy. Everybody's been super happy to have me back, and I've never been so honored. It feels like it's my birthday. But there's a lot of things I can't talk about with my personal life. Like everybody says I live a crazy life, but there's just what I just went through. I can't really talk about too much.
You gotta have some mystery. It's okay.
All I can say, like reality, is I shouldn't talk about it.
What can you talk about?
What I can say is a high-level friend of mine in tech, in big tech, needed some help with the contract. He needed some help to get a mission done, and I did the mission. It worked out great. I got paid, and he's doing great. We're doing great, and I'm back. That's it. I learned a ton. It was like going through a little time portal, and I'm glad. There's so much work to do. It was weird not having to worry about, like, you didn't have time to do politics. I didn't have time to do any of this stuff. So it was kind of cool to, like, be disconnected from it in a way, even though you kind of feel like a coward. But you just don't have time, and it's just not part of that culture. It did feel kind of good, but at the end of the day, free speech is the shit. Free speech is awesome. and I'm happy to be back. There's a lot of work to do here in this city, in this county, in this state, and I'm glad to be back with Alice here at the studio. There's so much for us to talk about, so much for us to do. As time unfolds, you guys will see what it was that I went through, and it's just going to be very, very beneficial to everybody. I'm very honored to have gone through that. And yeah, I'm ready to jump back in the show and let people know what's going on up in here, and let's do it. We got a new segment coming right. We're going to start doing global, and then we're going to do national, and then we're going to do state, then we're going to do local. So we're adding a new element, global, because stuff's getting crazy. It's a crazy time to be alive right now.
It's kind of necessary at this point in time.
Yes.
Especially with what happened this last weekend.
Yep.
I do want to also acknowledge, though, we have another little announcement before we get started, because I'm so excited about this one. So as you know, we record the show, and we'll continue to do so here at Oregon Mountain Productions, and the owners are the wonderful Joey Garza, who helped me out co-hosting.
Joey Cipher in the house.
And Joey Cipher, also known as Joey Cipher, and his lovely wife Haley, who also takes care of the camera work and good stuff like that. I should mention, too, behind the scenes is Daniel, that's Joey's brother, who helps us out with audio. Mr. Chipster, thank you so much.
What's up? Brothers in the house, Haley's in the house.
Yeah,
amazing
Haley
people here.
and Joey, I'm like on Facebook, and I see that, guess what? They're going to have a new addition to their family, and it's not, as Haley said, it's not another pug, it's a little baby. Hey. So congratulations.
That's such a blessing. Awesome. Congratulations, guys.
Good work,
awesome.
guys.
Thank you. Good work.
I like that.
Good cheerleader, good cheerleading.
I look forward to a new baby conservative.
That's right, that's right.
Just another human. We're short on humans right now.
Another human is great. Absolutely.
We need humans.
Right on. You want to have twins, Haley? Huh? What do you think? She's even more petite than I am, so.
Especially coming from some good humans. That's what we need. We need more humans coming from good humans. That's
right.
important.
So congratulations. We're so excited about that. Well, I'm glad to have you back, and I always feel like everything happens for a reason. So I know you learned a lot while you were gone.
I did.
And we missed you. I had people asking about you, and it was hard to keep stuff under wraps.
Your new name is The Vault.
I have a vault, and people are kind of amazed.
For real.
They're kind of amazed, but that's your integrity.
That's solid.
Really.
She's solid.
I mean, I worry as I get older and my memory starts to fail. I'm thinking, it's going to be even a deeper vault because I won't even remember what to retrieve from it. But I'm so glad that you're back. And so let's kick it off and get started right away. I think, like you say, with the global. And we got to talk about Israel. And
Israeli.
What happened over the weekend.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. What the hell?
Iran is unless you're, in somewhere underground or something, you know what happened, that Iran attacked Israel. And here's, we could talk like the whole hour about it, but here's what I came in and I was telling Zeke that I was really upset with. So on TV, I'm watching, I can't remember if we had Fox or Newsmax or whatever. We always had the TV on. And they had the Golden Gate Bridge, right? I think it was the Golden Gate Bridge. And the anti-Israeli people were protesting. And I have no problem with protests. The United States, that's
Palestinians,
great.
right?
Yeah.
Palestinian protesters?
So they were
Yeah.
anti-Israel.
Okay.
And they were blocking off the bridge. I'm like, how can they do that? That is so much power. The Golden Gate Bridge, really? And I'm just watching it. I'm thinking, and then they were saying, there's all around the country, they're doing this. And the commentator said, well, probably the police will start taking care of this. They just don't want a big scene. I'm like, what are they talking about? Just do your job and take care of business. All these other people that are trying to get, who knows what they're trying to do, get to an appointment, the hospital, or their work, or what. It really aggravated me. Am I overreacting?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. That's a huge deal. I mean, who doesn't want to freaking get stopped from going to work to make a living, to pay for your family's living? It's got to be frustrating beyond words. And it's hard to talk about this subject because everybody's so sensitive about it. Everything's just so sensitive in general these days. But me, I'm going to say whatever the hell I want. That you look at the Israel thing, and yeah, genocide's a big deal. There's a lot of conventions that stopped genocides from going down, and you could easily articulate that what's going on over there is genocidal. A bigger deal than that are, there's been a genocide on the population ever since the lockdowns came down. So people want to get frustrated about that type of genocide going on over there. Well, what about the rest of the world? All the people, we have more death now than the Black Plague. We got more people dying than ever before. So I'm just kind of a big picture kind of a guy. I can understand like that whole culture is based on religion. Their whole livelihood's based on that, and I get that. But we're dealing with a whole different ball of worms here in America, especially being a border town. So it's hard for me to get like super bombarded with that. I just think it sucks to block a bridge, and that situation over there sucks in general. And we got pulled into it, and we're roped into it now. Here we are having to talk about it, and it is what it is. It could be World War III, right?
It's a good point. And then you have people at the podium shouting, "Death to America! Death to America!" What the heck? You talk about culture, and I'm not sure the left is they're not criticizing this element. I think the right is more than anything else.
Right.
And I'm going to admit, I just don't know enough about the world politics. I'm more like you because I'm very concerned. If you have somebody and they're shouting death to America, and then, like you say, we see this constant flow of people we haven't even vetted. They're just coming into our country. That there's some people among there, so they're quietly coming in,
No way.
organizing, and getting ready for the real death to America. So I totally hear what you're saying, Zeke.
They're bringing in all the engineers and the doctors and the scientists that we absolutely need to make this country great. No, I mean
some are,
it's
and,
not
and
good.
those
Well, the
people
ones-
I would love them. But
If
let's
that-
identify them and do it legally.
Let's talk about that. Let's
correctly.
talk about an ideal world. Imagine, because everyone wants to talk about the problems. Look at the solution. Eventually, imagine getting to a point in America where we can actually vet in and bring in the smartest, brightest people of all these countries. And
It is supposed to be that way. The way
right.
they wrote the policies and
That's
laws,
right.
it is supposed to be that
And
way.
it was that way for a long time. I mean, how long do you think ago that stopped? I mean, probably the early 2000s is really when the border started getting a little out of control. But before that, it was like everyone that was coming over here was the best, the brightest, the most amazing people were getting naturalized. The opening companies. There's still some of that going on now, but relative to how many people that are coming in.
Let me just
that aren't
interject
like
real
that.
quick here too, is we were able, I don't know what the law is now, but for a long time, 1 million people were allowed to come here legally.
Really? I
1
didn't even know that.
million.
Really?
And that's pretty good, 1 million a year. That's
That
still
doesn't
a
seem
lot
like
of people.
much compared to what we've been dealing
But
with.
now, what do we have? Maybe they say 12 million. It's probably more like 20.
Yeah. Yeah, Trump
I don't
said 20.
know. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, so 20 million came in the past 4 years since Biden got in? 20 million people?
Yeah, he's ending his 4-year term.
So they're letting in 1 million a year for all those years. So, man, that's they're catching up quick. They're catching up quick.
It's frightening. It really is frightening.
Fear is one thing. We have more guns than, I think it's like 65% of the world. Like 65% of the world's guns are owned here in America. And then, you count all of the military veterans, you count all the retired police, retired firefighters, all the real men that are out there that have these weapons. despite what you may be, shown on the media, there's a lot of badass Americans here, and I try not to live in too much fear. I believe in God. It's in our Declaration of Independence, like I always say, and we're going to deal with it. Whether we like it or not, we're going to have to deal with it. It's not something we can really sulk about anymore at this point. We just got to start thinking about solutions and what we're doing with the shows, wake people up as much as we can. They're not the best people that are coming over here at all. These are horrible people. They've been caught raping children and killing people left and right. All right, that's just what's going on, and we got to be aware of it.
That is the reality, and it's a good reminder too. And I'm glad that you're back too, because now we can continue our leaving when we end the show and having you go out with prayer, because we haven't been doing that.
That's right,
and
the prayer.
My bad for that, because I'm not as good as you are. But yeah, we're still always hopeful, and you had a good helping humanity. You said one time, I remember on the show, because you're right. I don't know how people do it that don't have faith. And America is still a great country, and just like our little Las Cruces that we'd always talk about, there's enough good energy and people who really are patriotic Americans and care about what happens to their fellow man. Sorry if I use man, okay? But
yeah, God,
right.
It's like everybody's bashing on Jesus and stuff right now too. I noticed that, and that's okay. You have a right to say that, but it's like the Declaration of Independence says God, so it's like as long as you're appealing to a God, a higher authority, there's a lot for us to get along with. There's a lot for us to have in common. And that common ground is super powerful. We forget about that one common ground that is a God. We want to get into intricacies behind that God. That's where stuff happens. They were hanging Quakers in the streets when you start talking like that. So I'm going to be focusing more on the God element, like in the spirit of the founding of our country, just because, hey, we've got enough division going on as it is.
No, and you're right. And they want us divided, because then that gives them more power if we do that. So I think that's a really good
just throwing that out there.
Well, okay, so, that's going to be here. I don't know what the heck's going to happen. Do you have any predictions about Israel and what will happen? I think that Biden did talk to
I don't think you really want to know my predictions.
You want to save that for the next show?
Well, I mean, look, it doesn't look good, guys. It doesn't look good. Our military is destroyed. We got the craziest chiefs of staff and generals you'd ever freaking imagine going on in our military, and it's going to take a while to turn this boat around, So it takes a lot of bricks to build a house. All I can say is that we got to do this one brick at a time. We got to go at this one brick at a time.
Yeah, one brick at a time. That's pretty good. Well, let's transition a little bit more to the national. And of course, one thing we can't avoid right now. By the way, just to remind you, we record the show Monday afternoon, so today is actually tax day, April 15th. Hope you got your taxes in. You got your taxes in.
Did you see that big old line at the IRS over there?
No.
Yeah, they had a huge line in New York with far as I can see, people need help with their taxes, and they had to send everybody home.
Wow.
But yeah, tax day.
So let's see. Today's tax day, right? So midnight tonight is the deal. Oh my goodness gracious.
So yeah.
So speaking of kind of taxes and stuff, a natural name that comes up is the Trump trial that's going on right now.
Uh-oh. I have no idea what's going on with
right
that.
Before I came into work, Haley was asking me, and I hadn't seen any headlines pop up. They had gone on a break or something last time that I was watching it. But one thing, I did see Jonathan Turley. He's kind of a pundit. They talked to him. He's an attorney. And, he basically says this is a farce. I think he even mentioned there was a statute of limitations. They're going to go after Trump no matter what. They're going after him. And it's really kind of sad that we have to even witness this in our history, but these are such historic times that we're doing. And also, now, I'm still trying to see if this is legit. I was talking to Haley about this beforehand. Trump posted, or I don't know because I didn't get time to research it, but it was a tweet from 2017 or 2018.
I like those.
From Stormy Daniels, and saying, we never had an affair, and just saying, none of this is true. I'm like, really? What? What's the deal? Have you heard anything like that? Have you seen stuff like that?
I saw that. I think he texted it to me.
Okay, yeah, I did text it to you.
It's weird to me because why would that matter now? Why would they bring that up now? It's so weird.
Why even have a trial then if that was legit? It's just, I don't understand any of it. So I thought maybe it's not legit. Maybe
it's like Andrew Tate. All the girls that he was accused of sex trafficking, whatever, all came out and said no, absolutely not. We weren't sex trafficked. He's a totally amazing person, but it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. That everyone who accused him came back and said no, it wasn't the case. So it's like Stormy Daniels come back, hey, it didn't happen. When they want you gone, they want you gone. And I've been legally persecuted before, guys. I know what it feels like. We got to support these guys. People who are victims of injustice like that, like Mr. Trump. I mean, you get kind of tired of it. Oh, Trump's on another trial. But man, you guys have no idea how freaking stressful it is to have the arm of the law lobbed against you and your family and your circle and your businesses. It's extremely stressful. So God bless Trump. You know, this guy is dealing with a lot, and we just got to support him more now than ever. He'll get through it. But just know, just like they say, they're trying to get to us through Trump. I've been hit the way he's been hit. I came out with a little bit of it on Facebook a week ago when I got hit up by the school board here, Las Cruces School Board, and that's just a taste of it, guys. I've dealt with it on a whole another level, you know. And I don't want to say similar to Trump, very similar. And I don't really care. It makes me stronger. It makes me want to push harder. But I just know that being in similar shoes, we got to support that dude now more than ever, because you got a lot of stuff going against you when you got judges, you know, trying to seize all your assets. I mean, what else they try to do? To put him in jail? They did put him in jail, right?
Yeah, well, they are relentless, and you're very Trump-like, you know, and you're.
Well, I'm not a billionaire yet, so.
But like you say, when they attack you, and this is how we really need to be that way. You handle a bully by not backing down. And I think that you had the strength to do that. And someday we need to do like an entire show about that, when you can reveal everything that you went through, because you're so right. And people aren't seeing this enough. You watch that and you think, man, they're doing it to this guy that has bunches of money, the support of his family, and he won't back down. You know, if you come at him more, then he just comes back at you stronger.
They hate that the most. That's what I learned too. The more you put, because they eventually just scratch their head like, you should be dead by now. You know, you should be gone by now. What are you still doing here? Because they're not used to that. And I've been told that directly by people that, you know, witness what I went through. They're like, man, by now 96% of y'all have been gone. So Trump, I mean, look, he knew what he was getting into. You know, the swamps, you know, since World War II, that swamp's been getting built. He's facing like 50, 60 years of swampiness.
And he could have just said, well, you know what, I can't really run. It's too much. It's everything, all the stress and turmoil on the family as well. He didn't have to do this. Somebody else could have stepped forward. But I truly believe, as Jesse Romero, my Catholic evangelist friend that we've had on the show, has said, Trump is a broken pencil that God is using. You know, because he's not a perfect man by no means. He gets plenty of criticism. I've got a couple of trolls. They've been on my Facebook page lately. I got a couple of people, and they're just coming after me. Oh, Trump.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, just go ahead, because usually I don't have to respond because someone beats me to it.
What is your most biggest complaint that you get about him?
Well, let's see. I put, of course, a lot of pro-Trump stuff. You know, you do that.
Yeah, you do.
Surprise, because, in fact, I want to get a Trump 2024 sign.
That's a good idea.
So we can have it. Because we used to do that when Trump was running.
Mm-hmm.
We had that. Oh, and then Don Jorge, he always had, you know, FJB and hats and everything. I mean, he outdid me. But like, well, the latest one is, how can you believe this man? They've documented 37,000 lies that he's made. And, you know, just, he's a horrible person. And I mean, there's plenty of ammo you can come back with and thinking, here's one. I posted something and it was really a cool story. You guys should read it. You probably have seen it. And it's about the Titanic. When the Titanic went down, there were some very rich people and they kind of gave up their seat. And they said, nobody would do this. Somebody put, the only person I can think who would do this, who has this much money, would be Trump. And somebody said, he wouldn't do that. There's no way. And the first thing I thought of was, you know, he doesn't want to part with his money or something. And I thought, who gave up their salary for 4 years and didn't even take a salary as president?
Nothing.
You know, which is one thing. And all the other examples, and he helped so many people. He's helped them, and he doesn't brag about them. People find out and they say, did you know this? Did you know that? It's going to be that way, and I'm getting ready. And what's happening, they're coming out of the woodwork. I'm already recognizing from the campaign last, they're coming back. And they're just, to me, it's a badge of honor. If they think little old me, you know, I think what happens is, you know, get a story and they see a lot of likes, and I'm sure they're doing it to you too. And they're just, okay, I'm going to fight Trump. There's one guy, he's out of Tucson. I don't even know how he became a friend. But that's okay.
Right? Don't they come out of nowhere? Like,
they challenge you, and we need to be prepared for the challenge. You are excellent at that. I'm just going to say, Zeke will tell you.
I get cocky sometimes. I'm a little too good at it. But whatever. I mean, I challenge anybody to a debate. If anybody sees my posts, I'm like, dude, I'll debate you in public. You know.
Are they coming after you on your? You're kind of just come back though recently.
It's so much easier and less fun than it was back in the. I call it the Facebook wars. You know, before when Trump was running for 2020, it was gnarly. You know, it was like freaking frontline infantry banging heads. You know, with ideologies. It was freaking fun. Now they don't have a leg to stand on. It's like one reply and they're done. Get out of here. You know,
we have so much ammo.
Yeah.
Really, do you want? One guy is for Biden, and you know, I haven't hit him yet because I'm going to just kind of be nice. I pray for these people. Oh, and that's what I did. I said, thank you for responding, and I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. Oh, don't pray for me to your false God, and I really upset them, and I don't want to upset them, but I do pray for them because it must be so angry.
Well, it's kind of scary because they don't even want to look at the facts. When people refuse to look at facts, that to me is scary. You know, because that means they're trying to avoid reality, and that leaves them to their own, cognitive dissonance, and then basically whatever it is that was implanted in their head, that's where it leads them to. That's what scares me the most when I run into someone that doesn't even want to look at the evidence. Like they're like, I don't even want to know. It's like, oof, that's a rough one, dude.
Right.
The main thing though, I asked you that because most complaints about Trump are pretty easy to deal with. Usually it's just crazy. They've been programmed.
Or I ask them, okay, if you make this claim, you back it up.
Right.
Give me the link.
Which they won't have that.
I'll look at it.
They don't got it.
Silence.
They ain't got it. And the main one that I see that I think is it's got some credibility to it is the whole Operation Warp Speed thing. They beat him up about that. The conservatives beat him up about that the most. I see it all the time, and I get it. You just got to look at it like if you've ever. I'm trying not to sound douchey. I did philosophy, and most people who went through the program that I went through were doctors, high-level engineers, high-level scientists, high-level lawyers, because you got to think of the ethical implications of your decisions, because your decisions are affecting people's lives on a grand scale. And so, we would do a lot of thought experiments, right? So basically, sometimes you got to crack a few eggs, right? So Trump was posed with the decision: am I going to do this warp speed thing, or am I not going to do it? And I think
this doesn't happen to every president. That's been like 100 years since we had anything close to that.
I think he weighed his options, and he had to go with what he thought was going to be best in the long term. To get the economy back up, fired up, going again. He did what he had to do. Was it the best thing to do? We all know that because RFK is completely on the other side of that. That you got to give that guy credit.
And we do. I thought we won't be honest with that.
You know what I mean? Like I've been getting a lot of people. I've been talking to a lot of libertarians lately, and they're all about RFK, and it's quite endearing. I like to see the confidence and the love they have for that man, because if you listen to what he says, he's freaking awesome.
And even Trump has said he's a good man.
I hope he puts him in the cabinet somehow.
I think that's a real good possibility of that. I really do.
But other than that warp speed thing, I don't think you can't really beat Trump up too much. You just look at it logically, the country was doing, how much freaking better was it doing when he was in, guys? Yeah. It was like a whole different world, literally a different reality.
Even on the one issue of the border, if that were even his own issue.
That alone.
And then boom, Biden gets in there, gets rid of it, gets rid of his policies. But it's still Trump's fault. It's still Republicans' fault.
I kind of wish I knew that was going to be the best America that ever was. It could be. We can make it better. We're going to make it great again. But knowing now that was literally the peak of America in its economic history, if we would have known that at the time, we would have probably partied way harder.
Well, there's so many things, and then of course you could talk about election integrity, which now I'm super worried about as well too. And again, it's because of the open border. So
election
you just have to keep plugging hard, man.
No, I got a lot of faith in election integrity. Like I'm in touch with the highest level campaign managers in the country, and these guys are winning like crazy. There's a way to win. There's a way to win. And they feel
confident in the systems that they're looking at?
Doesn't matter. They're the most confident people you'll ever meet. I'll win in a blue state, in a blue city with a white guy. Boom. They know how to freaking win. Because at the end of the day, people want conservative candidates. No matter what race you are, no matter how tall you are, if you're a guy or a girl, if you're a conservative, people will vote your ass in. That's what's going on. They don't tell you that in the media, but it's happening all over the country right now.
Well, historically, it seems to me, I haven't been, alive forever, but you have a liberal or left administration, and then a lot of times what happens, the next administration typically will go conservative or more right because they've got to fix the mistakes of what happened in that one. I'm not saying my party's perfect, okay? I'm not saying that. The
Republican Party is absolutely perfect. Okay, Ellis.
I know you worship.
How dare you?
I know you worship our party. But I will tell you, just like my husband says, no, we're not perfect, but we're better than
I'm wearing blue today.
You are? Well, so am I. But I do have my red Zia.
That's Marxist.
Yeah, you're all dressed up today.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
No, I just think that I'm hoping what you're saying is right in the cycle. Because I'm a person that is looking at everything, and just having gone through that, I worry because of the federal. You can sign up to vote on a federal form, and you don't have to necessarily show ID. I know the Republicans are working on that. I'm not sure where they stand on that federally. So, and then like in New Mexico, you come in, you can get ID if you're not illegal, if you're illegally in this country. So I think it's still something to watch for and to be aware of. But at the same time, I tell you what, more and more people, and especially younger people, the millennials, I think they're coming around and they're figuring out that, they're figuring out, this world, it's not being run very good under this administration.
Gen Z's waking up. Did you hear about that? You probably haven't heard about the trend that's going on with Gen Z.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Because they're so freaking broke. You know, the economy's so crappy these days that they're having social media brag posts about the groceries that they buy. They're bragging and hyping up the groceries that they buy. They're buying like high-end organic food, and it's like becoming a trend because that's the only thing they can splurge on. They can't go on vacation. They can't even date. They're dating on Zoom now to save money. Yeah, swear to God, that's like So Gen Z is awake. They're like, dude, this sucks. You know, this is not how my parents grew up. This is not how the millennials grew up. We're having to freaking, pinch pennies. And these guys are over here hanging out in Cancun all summer. You know,
when Gen Z is right below you, right?
Yeah, right below millennials, and they're going way more conservative right now. Trump's picking up a big segment of that vote right now because the economy is just so crazy. It's so crazy.
I love that. That's smart. That's awesome.
Right.
We need to have a Gen Z in here.
Gen Z?
And interview them. Yeah, we need to do that.
Well, I don't see why not.
We should do that.
Yeah, there's got to be someone out there that's crazy enough to get on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so let's see. We talked about that. I'm looking at my time. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. That's for sure.
Where were you going with that other point though? We talk about Gen Z. How do we start with that?
No, just that I'm saying. I think people are recognizing that they're not happy with this administration.
Oh yeah.
And once you realize, speaking of comments like on Facebook, somebody saying, well, you can't blame Biden for, there's Biden inflation or gas prices and stuff and things. And I'm thinking, dude, there's just so many arguments to be made because, you'll see all the different posts. You'll see the post that here's when Trump was president and the gas was $1. I'm just going to say $1.59. I'm probably out of whack on that one. And now in some places it's hitting $6-7 mark. And they're trying to argue, and I'm thinking, if you're going to argue with me, I'm fine because, as you know, I like to spar, and I know you do too. I bet Joey does too.
But I don't really like to anymore because they get so mad at me for winning. It's like, God,
I'd love to have that.
Just sore losers, man. Go ahead.
They just disappear all.
Yeah, because you're like this dainty sweet girl. Like for me, they're just like violence. I want to get violent with this man, and it's like. For real though, it's like you can transpose that into like the grander scheme of things. It's them that wants to get violent. The conservatives are always just trying to be peaceful and like go with the Constitution. And these guys are the ones who try to go to the next level every time.
Use your words. And as I've said before, I always like what Glenn Beck used to say, do your own research. And if you can convince me that I'm wrong, if you can present a fact and show that I'm wrong, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe I have wrong information. Maybe I looked at it incorrectly or something. I would love to be wrong about some of this stuff. I would really like that. But, we just got to keep fighting because it is so important to me to get Trump in there because I don't know, we probably have some conservatives that could do a decent enough job, but they'll just be attacked. And he's already gone through all this. So he has so much information now and he's dealt with the all the bad stuff. So he is just like the perfect person to get in there. And that's why they've got to take him down. They know that they've got to take him down. But on this same note, I want to ask you real quick, though, because it's getting late in the game. Do you think that Biden will still remain the nominee?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Joe Rogan was talking about, I think, it was Rogan. He was saying that he ain't got till past May. He ain't got past May because he's just getting so bad, Biden. It's like, it's kind of a show now. Everybody's just kind of in on it. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. Like we just expect him to just screw up royally.
Weekend at Biden's, yeah.
It's so embarrassing. But hey, I don't see how they're going to be able to prop that dude up. How many drugs is that guy on in the first place? they're running out of veins. All right, they're pumping that dude full of everything, bro. I mean, so I don't know.
No predictions at this point.
I would like to. I didn't think he was gonna make it past the first 6 months. Here we are, 4 years later. So I'm not gonna make no predictions. This guy's like.
They said that's why he couldn't go live for what happened in Israel this past weekend.
Yeah.
That they had to tape it so they can clear up everything that he messed up and then have it.
Fix it
Yeah.
up.
They have AI like re-correct his voice.
Chop it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
Crazy.
makes more sense. It
And
really
and
does.
that makes a lot of sense. And if you want to get conspiracy theory, you can look at those damn zoomed in shots of his ears and his nose and his chin. There's like different versions of this dude's earlobes and chins and noses.
Okay,
like
so
everywhere.
I've been watching that. And the last one that I saw, because they had a real big, clear picture of him. And, okay, if I'm thinking about it right, this right earlobe is connected. And then when you go to the other side, it's got like a part
Yeah, but they
behind
could have
this.
photoshopped that in.
Well,
too.
sure, absolutely. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going to keep that in my head to see if I can catch them making a mistake.
It's hard to trust. That's what makes this world so difficult. I love being alive. It's a crazy time to be alive. I'm honored to be here. I love everybody here right now. But it's hard sometimes because you don't know what is anymore. Everything is just like so AI'd up. You're like, what is even reality anymore? It's so crazy.
And then what was the deal? Oh gosh, I'm not going to remember. Gutfeld, and they were talking about, they figured out some company or something. They said it was AI, but it was actually a bunch of people in India, and they were they were watching these people do things. Gosh dang it, I can't think. I want to say that it involves the airport, but they were selling it as AI, but it really wasn't AI. It was actual people they were hiring that worked from India. They were just watching the monitors and pretending to be AI. I love that story.
Doesn't help. That doesn't help my brain. Showing me stuff like that.
I'm going to find that story and I'll do it. Okay, so let's see. We have so much stuff to talk about, and it's so exciting
No,
to
we
have
don't.
you back and ask. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, why don't we do a quick commercial, though, right now for Flavors of the Desert, and then we'll
Flavors
transfer
of the
to
Desert,
state.
yes. As always,
Woohoo!
Organ Mountain Production presents a beautiful red cover. Man, what is that? What restaurant is
Isn't that
that?
beautiful?
Restaurant.
That's Mix 33.
Oh,
in
the
Silver
mix.
City. Yeah.
Dang. Oh, in Silver City.
Yeah.
Mix 33.
It's
Oh.
like a little speakeasy.
Oh, yeah, that's Anthony's spot.
Yeah, Anthony's spot. Yeah.
Man, he knows how to cook some food. Look at that. Baked potato. Yeah, so these guys got all local restaurants. Is it all New Mexico? Southern New Mexico?
Yeah. All southern right now.
All Southern.
Yeah.
Beautiful art, beautiful guide to get some dang good food. Everything in here is bomb. I've been to pretty much everywhere in here, and this is all like the best highlights of Southern New Mexico.
You could write a column, I think, for them.
So if you guys, I would love to. So if you guys are interested in hitting up the best spots in Southern New Mexico, where the good to get you, it's a shortcut. It's a shortcut to the best places in Southern New Mexico. Hit them up. Flavors of the Desert. They got it going on. They know what's up for sure.
Good way to say that. And then the next issue is going to be highlighting the food trucks.
All the food trucks.
So
Yeah.
that's gonna
Food
be
trucks in the
very
house.
cool.
I love food trucks.
Me too.
God, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a evolutionary thing, you know what I mean? The guy that can't, you're walking along with your horse and there's a guy on fire selling you some stuff on the side of the road, right? I don't know.
I have a girlfriend who, she did a lot of food stuff. That was her career for a long time. And she just thinks that, man, if she was going to do something like that, food trucks is the way to go and the way to do
Food
it.
trucks are freaking cool. The lifestyle and the culture is awesome.
Right on.
So,
And put a plug in for Las Cantaritas.
Los Cantaritas. Yeah, I actually have a meeting with him tomorrow.
Chris Jr.
Hang out with
Oh,
Mr.
do you
Chris.
really?
Yeah, hang
Oh,
out with that
okay.
dude.
He's my
talk some
great
business.
nephew. He is great, but he is my great nephew.
He's cool. Chris is an awesome guy.
He
He's
is.
a really good dude.
I love him to death.
So I wanted to talk about AI. This is
Okay.
something I think we're talking about because I
Okay.
put up a video of Joe Rogan was calling out Michelle Obama and how Joan Rivers was, if you guys
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
seen the video, I mean,
Yeah.
eventually we're going to get some reaction stuff going on here, but eventually we can pop in that video when Joan Rivers says, did you ever see it?
Well, this is from a long time ago when it was still a conspiracy. And of course, you'll explain the
We gotta talk about
conspiracy
it.
of what Joan Rivers said.
We got to talk about it.
At that time, Obama was in office, right?
Oh, really?
Because Joan Rivers died. Well, I'll just it's
That's
fine.
right. She was in
Joan
office. He
Rivers-
was in office.
Joan Rivers
See, I don't even know.
died.
I saw it years ago. I didn't realize. I thought it was when Trump was in office still. It was before.
Well, you tell me about. Maybe we're speaking
Well, when
about
did Joan
different
Rivers
things.
die? That's if she died when Obama was in, it is what it is. For me, that's kind of irrelevant just because the way she said it, And I put up a clip online, and it didn't seem like too many people thought it was funny. But for me, when it first came out years ago, the most compelling thing I saw about that whole thing, and I don't care, I'm cool with transgender, I'm cool with everybody. I really am. If you're pro-human, I'm on your side. Not every transgender is freaking shooting up schools, you know what I mean? There's some pro-human, badass transgender people out there that just want what's best for the world.
And a lot of them are mad about what the left-leaning transgenders are
Precisely.
doing. You're right.
Precisely. But the most compelling thing that I saw when they still let this stuff out on social media, was the head to shoulder ratio. So men have 2 head sizes between each head. Like between your head and your shoulder, there should be 2 heads that can fit. And for women, because women have more narrow
looking
shoulders,
at Joey.
it's less. It's 1.5, or it's like half a head. So it's like, that's the big thing to look at. There's a huge difference between the women's head to shoulder width ratio and a man's, and then also the hip ratio as well. Like men have much more narrow hips because we don't have to bear children, as Haley's about to find out.
Yes.
The hard and the easy way. and so if you'll notice, Michelle, I'll say Michelle, is always wearing clothes that cover up her hips big time. You can never really get a good look at her hips. And, you know, it's always a hairdo that covers up her shoulders. You know, you never see her without, you know, with her hair up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's who anymore, just like I said before. But when I saw that and I looked at the research on it, I was like, you got yourself a good point there, former YouTube channel that's been banned now. And you guys can take that for what it is. I still think it's a female. I still think it's Michelle Obama. And that woman is black and she's awesome.
And Michelle is attractive. Michelle is attractive. You can say that. Face, yes.
She's got
Michelle
great
has
features.
an attractive face.
100%.
I thought you were talking about the video when Joan Rivers, I think is a reporter or somebody asked her, and she says,
What's the drama?
oh, everybody knows she's a tranny or something like that.
Yeah,
Says
yeah.
tranny. And then it was shortly after that, she did not make it.
But she had like 50,000 plastic surgeries, though. You know?
Oh, Michelle Obama?
Joan Rivers.
Oh, Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers?
I guess
Well,
it could have
this
been either
was-
one, depending on how you look at it, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, when it first came out, I'm like, well, that's just crazy. That was a long time ago. It's crazy. But, you know, like I tell you anymore, you hear these things and you try to keep an open mind.
I'm open. And if for whatever reason she is a man, it's like, that's cool, dude. Just let us know.
Let us know.
You ain't gotta
Be
lie,
honest.
bro. You know?
It doesn't matter. It
You
really
ain't got a lot to kick it. It's America. We're cool with that now these days.
I just want to, and you know, I'm glad you tell that story because it makes me segue into this, into a story that I told you about. So our state Supreme Court here in New Mexico, they just got a deal. They say what they have to do, they have to recognize pronouns. So that's the latest that I read, that I saw. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, you know, that's all separatism. You know, it's that's the big problem right there. Because we're not all divided. We're all connected. So you start dividing people up, it makes people crazy.
This is still from the Pinon Post. We got to have somebody on from them because these guys,
Mr. Block?
they're awesome.
I
And
love Mr. Block.
New Mexico Supreme Court just ruled to force wokeism down your throat in court. So they're talking about they've got to specify their preferred pronouns and salutations. So this just happened recently, like last week. And they can now list their pronouns and salutations next to their names at the top of the court documents. And, you know, that way they show. So I think that there's kind of, they're working it out, and you might be
It's
able to
so
say, so like
bizarre.
if Joey came in and he wanted to be Joanna, and I would call, if I were the judge, I would call you Joanna, but I wouldn't call you Miss, because I know that you're still Joey. And that I kind of use that already. You know, if somebody wants to do that, I feel like God doesn't want me to lie. So if you really are a man and I can see that you're a man, I will not use your preferred
It's
pronoun.
ma'am.
I'm sorry. I will call you by your name if you want to be whatever your name wants to be. I will do that. That's how I personally feel.
I'm a
about
ma'am.
that. What about you? What do you think about this?
I'm a little more cool with it. You know, I just like, I pick my battles, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get into a fight with a bearded guy wearing a pink dress about whether he's a ma'am or not. I'm like, I don't have time for
Well,
that.
I hadn't thought
like-
about that.
I'm just
Maybe I
like,
need
yes,
to reconsider.
I'm just like, yes, ma'am. You know what I mean? Whatever. I got to get out of here. I got to get my freaking coffee and bounce. But aside from that, it's like, hey, you can't be out there dividing people like that. It's not good. We have to really understand what they're doing with that. It's totally an agenda that is not helping. It's only 1% of the population, the transgender thing. It's like, why are we focusing all our energy on 1% of the population? I understand your struggle. I'm sure it's a tough struggle. I mean, that population commits suicide. We should be helping them with way more than we are, first of all. You know, if the suicide rate's that high. Second of all, the rest of the 99% of us have bigger things to deal with. You know, I don't see why we're giving that. We're talking about it right now. Why are we talking about it right now?
The deal for me, though, in a court of law, and things should be, you want to present facts, right? And you want to be accurate. So I think you should also be accurate about who's in front of you in court. I mean, if it's a gentleman versus a gentlewoman, that could have a basis of fact. I mean, I just
It's ma'am.
it's going to be interesting to see, because someone will challenge that.
I will tell you this: whenever I see that he's, him, her declaration on someone's email tag, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And I've seen a lot of those emails lately. Let me tell you. And it's just the universities. The universities make you participate in that. It's all the institutions that we all have to deal with. The government institutions put it on you. Now the Supreme Court's put it on you. If you work at the university, you got to do it. If you work for the city, you got to do it. The medical field does it now. So it's like one by one.
It's everywhere. You're right. It's everywhere.
But maybe I should be more like you, though. Maybe I should put my foot down more, and not be so passive about it. That's what Jordan Peterson was all about. That's how he got famous, was fighting that stuff in Canada.
That's true.
Because
they sent him to re-education camp.
Yeah, because that was the main thing he was fighting against. He's like, I don't want to have to be able to call my students his, her, she, him, or whatever. That's the instant you start going down that road, that's when the Marxism takes over, and he started getting into the Gulag Archipelago and how much suffering came about from that ideology. And here we are, about 4 years. That was 2018. About 6 years later, here we are, talking about exactly what he predicted 6 years ago.
It's just so much work.
It is.
It's just too much work to do that.
That is a good point. It is intensely cumbersome and arduous to battle this stuff.
Intensely cumbersome. That is absolutely.
It really is. I've been battling. I've been fighting it. It's freaking hard, dude. It's hard.
So also, just to kind of on a state level, almost get into the local a little bit though too, is Gabe Vasquez, who is our congressman.
Senor
He's your
Vasquez.
congressman, too. He unfortunately beat our now candidate, Yvette Harrell, who was a Republican candidate.
Well, it took him about a week to count the votes, that's all.
He was a former city council person, right? I think Gabe was.
Yep, city council guy.
Well, you know what I've been noticing? I've been noticing almost every time I turn YouTube on, and maybe you've seen it, Haley, too, or something. Maybe you have. There's commercials for him, and he's pushing he's keeping the price of insulin down. Those things, they cost some money, right?
No way.
That's
important.
Make sure you let Gabe Vasquez know that you want him to keep the prices of insulin down. But he's in a little bit of trouble, it may be, with his own Latino community, because you know what? Latinos do not like this open border business.
I'm a Hispanic and I don't like the open border business.
Yeah, Latino, Hispanic, whatever you like to call me, that I'm cool on.
Hispanic him.
Hispanic him?
That's what it is for me.
It's him, the Hispanic. Don't panic. It's him, the Hispanic. It's all good.
It's priorities. Look at how messed up these people's priorities are. Here we are talking about insulin, which I get it. Insulin's freaking expensive. I know. But what's going to be more expensive is when they blow up our freaking power grid and we don't have anywhere to live. That's going to be way more expensive than insulin, guys.
Oh, absolutely. And you just made me think of something. So what is one thing that Hispanics, Latinos, whatever, in our particular ethnic group, high rate of what? Diabetes.
That's true.
So that's probably why the insulin is being pushed.
You're being
you just
racist
made
now.
me think about
That's
it.
Racist.
Well, he's racist because he's running the commercial.
Now you're being racist.
But I was happy to see that because I want him defeated. I've told you I personally called his office and asked about the border thing, and the answer that was given to me is, oh, well, that's the Republicans. They're just not letting us do anything. This is a long time ago. And then I gave them my email. I was supposed to get on his e-list. I've yet to get one from that office.
Really?
So I'm sure they found out. And I said, full disclosure, I don't support him. I'm supporting Yvette Harrell. No, I want them to know. I don't care. I said, but I want an answer.
I was like, full disclosure, hate your guts.
No.
Just full disclosure.
No, and I don't hate him. I just don't want him to be my congressman anymore. That's all.
Full disclosure, I don't like commies. Full disclosure. No, that's cool. I know how you're a truth teller. You tell how it is, and that's why I like you. You shoot it straight. You call a spade a spade. Mr. Vasquez gonna have a hard time in this next race. I think I see him struggling. I think a lot of his campaign commercials seem like he's desperate, and he's back against the corner. I spent a lot of time up north recently, and people absolutely love Yvette Harrell. Her name was everywhere. I mean, people would see that I had pictures with her on my social media, and they were just like starstruck because she has so much freaking love in that area. So, kudos to Mr. Horenberg for his Yvette's campaign manager. He's doing an excellent job. Now we got to get the W, But for me, when I'm in the heart of Bernalillo County and everybody adores Yvette Harold, that to me is a very good sign. So early out as well.
Well, that's huge, especially because for anybody watching from outside of New Mexico, that part of Bernalillo County is not very right. They're
Oh, no.
more on the left.
No.
You know.
That place is blue. And that's another thing real quick, too, let's talk about. Because I feel like there's more of a shift now, you know? Like, there's more of us hanging out and we're talking more truth. And then the people who are on the other side, they just kind of gotten worse, you know, where they don't even want to talk about the evidence like I was talking about earlier. They're a little bit more edgy. They're a little bit more like eye twitchy, you know, mouth twitchy. And so I don't know what it's going to take because a lot of it's education, a lot of it's information. A lot of people just don't
like
know.
this show.
Like this show. Like you got to share the show. You guys got to talk about this stuff. And I don't know. We got to get through to a lot of people. We got to get through to a lot of people still. They just don't understand what's really going on. And that scares me because the reality is most people are distracted. Like we're so blessed to have the freedom to come here and talk and listen. And most people have to work all day. They're not allowed to talk about this stuff at work. They're not allowed.
They're afraid to.
They're afraid to.
Even to talk in public or among your friends. I told you we go sign the referendums, and there was an instructor from the community college, and he was kind of afraid to sign.
Like,
he believed in what was
watching his back.
there.
I bet he was.
He's like, oh, who's going to see this?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way. This is America.
No, that's how it is.
And that was just to get it on the ballot. He wasn't committing to saying, I'm definitely going to vote this way. It's kind of scary.
And that sucks. And that kind of brings up to another point. I know I've kind of been ranting. I've been gone for a while, guys. You got to let me rant a little bit.
You're entitled to.
You got to let me rant a little bit. But this other rant is that basically most people don't even know what freedom is. They've never even experienced freaking freedom. They've had an institutional job. They went to institutional public school, their whole life. They've never really had the time to investigate their own psyche, to understand who they are as a person, let alone have the time to go over like real knowledge and real information that betters humanity. So it's like, why don't we have more people fighting against like this open borders and all this crazy, wars that we're funding for no freaking reason? Because most people have no clue what it is to even be free. That's just the truth of it. That's my take on when I got dumped into Blue City, literally like hyper progressive country. And that's what I take from it, is that most people have never experienced freedom, so they have no clue what they're even fighting for. And number two, most people just they have no understanding of reality. We're living different realities right now.
I think you make a good point, and being a boomer, a lot of this stuff started happening a long time ago, and I want to just share a quick story with you from a friend who I can't tell you the identity because this is another person who has a business and is saying, can't advertise
you can't do it.
their political identity because has lost customers. But this person, right out of a high school, I think, or college, did a trip and went to the Soviet Union, experienced communism, and saw what it was all about. When the person came back, they knew they were a Republican, and they totally got into it and have been ever since. So what you say about experiencing freedom. So this person knew this is how they lived here in the United States. Went and stayed. I don't know how long they stayed there. A few weeks. It wouldn't take long, right?
Yeah.
To experience it, and that's the story. And sometime, if this person can ever reveal more, we'll have them on, and they can talk about, hey, I did really good there. I didn't identify gender. I didn't identify too much, so I'm going to keep it at that. Hey, we're down to our last few minutes, and we have to talk about, what are we at?
We're out of time already, Alice?
We're getting there. We still got a load of time, but I don't want us to go without talking about.
Let's just get it over with.
That power ad that you sent me about
Power
Emerge.
Oh.
Do we want to talk about that or
Yeah,
save
talk
that
about that. I think
for the
that's
next
freaking
one?
cool.
All right, that, and then of course I want to talk about what's happening tonight too. So let's not leave the show without that.
Tonight.
So I'm, Zeke sends me stuff. I send stuff to Zeke, and he sends me this thing, and I'm like, what the heck? I've never heard of this organization.
Badass.
Emerge. I'm like, whoa! It freaked me out.
That was the best Republican highlight reel
out.
I've ever seen in my life. It was like music to my eyes.
So give kudos. We have to give kudos to Chavez County, right?
Chavez County.
You guys, salute.
Was it Chavez? I thought it was Santa Fe County.
I think it's in Chavez County.
I think Chavez
That's what I
County
Chavez County
sent it
Republican?
out, but the Santa Fe Republican Party made it.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I think so. Either way, shout out to both those parties.
Well, I can check and find out.
Yeah, take a gander, because I remember seeing Santa Fe County somewhere, either in the video itself I know Chavez County sent it out, and that's how I found it. Chavez County. I follow all the Republican county Instagram pages, and Chavez County has a lot of votes, so it's good to stay abreast with them. And they got a badass Republican Party there too. There's some good Republican parties around this state. There really is. It's like you got to support whoever you can when you can. But basically, this video is talking about how this far left progressive group called Emerge is funded by like Bloomberg, all these like hyper progressive liberal Marxists, communists, and they fund all these liberal far left campaigns. One of which was Joanne Ferrari, which is the woman that I ran against in District 37. She's funded by Emerge. Angelica Rubio, she's a state representative as well.
Okay, so just Chavez County GOP is what's on here.
Okay, cool.
So just to let you know, because we want to give them full credit for what they got.
Yeah, Chavez County, shout out to you. I'm pretty sure I saw Santa Fe County in there somewhere. But either way, Chavez County, you guys are gold in my head, golden nuggets in my head. And so, yeah, Emerge is this group that comes in here, pays for these politicians to get into these office positions, and they win. And they're dominating the Supreme Court. Well, they got 2 people out of 5 in the Supreme Court, which is gnarly. The Supreme Court's the supreme law of the land. The Supreme Court has so much power, guys. You guys don't even know. Without a proper Supreme Court.
So the state Supreme Court, they got 2 people in there.
Dude, we got to fix that. And then we have on the appellate court, the appeals court, they have 3 of 5. And the appeals court's freaking powerful, too. And they got city county clerks. They got a bunch of
our own county clerks
is part of Emerge.
Listed.
And they're not going to like that we're talking about this, but it's public information. And we know what? How many memes have you seen? Like, if only politicians wore like sports jackets with their sponsors on their jackets. If we all only knew.
There she is.
If we all only knew who was funding these politicians, that's something we all wanted to know. Like, who's paying for you, buddy?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's all public information. You could all look it up, but someone actually took the time to look it up, find the correlation. And real quick, too, I am in contact with the High Level Campaign guys. I hate to brag about it, but I am. These guys are freaking amazing. He commented I put it on TikTok, and one of these guys commented on it. He's like, it's a nationwide problem, bro. That same organization does it all over the country. And this guy beats those guys all the time. So he knows how to win.
Wow.
So, hey, you know what? Like I said, it's one brick at a time. We're building a house right now. There's another brick. It's a big boat. It's going to take us a while. So we're getting a brick house on a boat here, guys. We've got a lot of work to do.
Well, and I'm so glad you said that, because often we talk about, so you might be watching us from California or Arizona or somewhere else in the country, but the issues that we talk about, they're all kind of nationwide. They really are. And you just said it. The same thing's happening in different states. But this ad, and I've got to put it up again, but man, it was one of the best and so powerful, and just gave you good bullet points and gave you the information that you need.
Maybe Joey can throw it in here at the end if you guys want to stay it to the end.
That's a good idea.
And
it's only like
take a gander at it. It's a quick 1.5 minute little video.
But yeah, and I'm just looking. I stopped it right now. I was playing it because I didn't want it noise, but it does have our county clerk and Doña Ana County clerk, and also one in Santa Fe County and
awesome?
Los Alamos clerk Naomi Maestas from Los Alamos.
I think it's great.
One clerk Linda Stover.
We have
from
politicians that are
Bernalillo.
part of a nationally recognized organization. I think that's awesome.
And these are big counties right here. Just these 4 that I stopped at: Bernalillo County, Doña Ana.
I don't think it's a coinky that they go after the highest vote counties with the most votes, huh?
Santa Fe
Well,
County.
if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it
Los
right.
Alamos. I mean, that's powerful. Very
If
powerful.
we're gonna go big, we ain't going home.
Oh, man,
We
okay.
ain't going home.
All right, so let's make sure we talk about, I guess we could still talk about this. Oh, I have to say, give you a quick update. Ronnie Cisneros, he didn't make it. They said, no, you are off the ballot still, but it is being appealed to the state Supreme Court, so we'll keep you posted on any progress that comes with that.
I like Ronnie.
We're hoping, okay? And then, though, we have to talk about the charter school, which you were formerly a board member.
I was.
And we're going to go tonight, and he's got to tell you about what's happening there.
I still support him. Well, I have to be very careful about what I say. So look, Alma de Arte is an art school that's right here in the middle of Las Cruces, like literally smack in the heart of Las Cruces, New Mexico. It's right next to Pioneer Park, which is one of the most beautiful parks you've ever seen. It's like vintage, like 50s style, like Victorian,
It's been
beautiful,
there a long time.
Beautiful park. It's a beautiful part of Las Cruces. It was built primarily in the early 1900s, so it's got that Victorian, flavor to it. And it was the worst art school in the state. They had the worst scores in the entire state, and it
And it still was a charter school at this time?
Yeah, and it's been caught embezzling. There's been embezzlement going on in that school for well over a decade, like hardcore embezzlement, like serious infractions, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, like massive. So they got a new principal in there. The former president, Kim Skaggs, who was awesome, she and the board voted on Dr. Amador to be the new principal. And he's a good dude. He's a registered Democrat. Yeah, I'd call him a conservative Democrat, although he wouldn't like that if I called him that. Because he's not a political guy. He's a guy that gets a job done. You know, he doesn't even like getting into politics because imagine that in the school system. You don't talk about that. So he's like that. He's like, I don't want to talk about all that.
Pretty smart.
He just wanted to make sure we were going to support him in his vision. And he's one of the best visionaries I've ever met. And I met a lot of really good leaders. This guy has one of the sharpest visions I've ever met. This guy is awesome. Like badass dude. So sure enough, within less than, I think, a year, it's like 8 or 9 months, the scores are flipped around. They're winning dance competitions. They're winning art competitions. They're getting new programs. People are hearing about it. He's got a line out the wazoo to get into the school. I mean, phenomenal performance by Dr. Amador and his team. Despite that, the people from the old guard, I mean, old habits die hard, guys. You know, that people, they weren't even, I can't even really say it. I shouldn't really, but they weren't even taking attendance, all right? So, like, these kids were doing whatever they wanted.
They weren't taking attendance, and they do teach things besides art, right? They're teaching.
Yeah, you got to go through a core, you know.
What grades are we talking about?
9th through 12th.
Okay.
So high school.
High school.
So high school. And so there's just, the school was in shambles. You know, I just know there was a lot of corruption, a lot of embezzlement. Dr. Amador and his team went in there, flipped it quick. The people who were used to getting what they wanted and doing whatever they wanted didn't like it anymore. Because anytime, we all been there, guys. You know, someone steps in there, holds people accountable. Nobody likes accountability. People are going to go kicking and screaming. And that's what's going on right now. The kids are doing great. Dr. Amador's team's performing excellently. Is that even a word? It is now.
Excellent. We'll just say
Excellent, plural, excellently. So, you know, they're going to have a meeting tonight. You know, the people who are rallying against Dr. Amador's success, which is the old guard, is called on Las Cruces Community Watch. This is 40,000 people follow that page, to come out and hang out. Last time they came, they started to get extremely disrespectful, cussing at the president, like gnarly. And then I was at the meeting before that. I was threatened physically. A guy foaming at the mouth on something was basically, you know, trying to provoke a fight.
he threatened you right there, like it
Right in
was-
front of everybody.
So you
Right
can-
in front of everybody.
Did you have security?
Yeah,
Did
we
you
had to
throw
call the
them out?
cops. We had to call the cops because I've had runs with that guy before. You know, that guy's and he has no kid in the school. He doesn't work for the school. His wife doesn't work for. His wife used to work for the school years ago, so he has no real interest in the school. He was just there to protest the fact that there was conservatives on the school board, and I just happened to be wearing a red shirt that day. I probably didn't, help much. But you know, hey, that's what we're dealing with, guys. These kids are doing great. And I love these kids. They're good kids.
Well, it should be about the kids, I would think. It is the school.
I met them. They're happy. They're great that they actually got a good leader in there and they're learning stuff. He's got freaking astronauts coming in there to go talk to these kids. Literal freaking astronauts, Hispanic astronauts. Amazing
cool.
artists and dance teachers from all over the country. I mean, these kids are living the dream now, But here we go. Got a meeting here in a little bit we got to go to. And who knows where I being straight up, I'll be on record saying I don't have a good feeling about it. These people are gnarly, and to put a shot out like that online like that, I'm worried about tonight.
Well, and I want to go and support because Saturday we had a GOP event, and Kim and Mercedes were saying, I guess, a student actually got up there and was using the F word at them and everything. I said, well, you guys going to have some security? And I want to go to support them because they were also saying, these parents, and it's a fraction, like you say, it's a fraction of the parents. They don't even want the kids to have grades. So I don't know how you measure their performance or help them. I don't think it's helpful not to have grades because it's an art school or something. Anyway, I'm going to go, and one thing about this, check into your schools. If you have kids in schools, grandkids or whatever, you pay taxes, and probably a good chunk of your taxes is going to that. Even the charter schools, the state still helps them out a little bit too. But the bottom line is, this is a community effort, and these kids are entitled to a good education.
No grade. I didn't know that. No grade. I mean, how do you can't even get funding from the PED without grades? There has to be some kind of metric to test these kids' performance. Like, how does that make any sense? See, nothing, when things don't make sense, I get uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, nothing makes sense. All right, there's a problem. There's something going on.
So I'm very curious to see. I'll be down there, And this is recorded ahead of time, so we'll give you the development next week when you tune in and let you know what happened.
Well, we're going live tonight too, because the level of disrespect. If people saw the level of disrespect that I've had to go through, and that these amazing staff and faculty and school board has to go through, you guys, this stuff made for the movies, dude. These guys are out of control, foaming in the mouth, upset because kids are doing great. Weird.
Well, and this is a little bit distraction, but almost on the same lines. There's a gal who went to a city council meeting. She's on video. Maybe you've seen her, Haley, or you have. And Daniel, very upset with the city council, and was saying how we're going to kill you. I hope because of what you're doing, you're going to get killed, and then we're going to kill you, and I hope you get killed. What? And I'm giving you just like a little short portion, very strong and bold there at the podium, talking like that. Well, now what's happened is they're arresting her because she was threatening these people. Yeah. She was threatening, we're going to come kill you, and then they show her, and now all of a sudden she looks like an innocent little girl, and she's crying. I mean,
but you
people
can't say that.
Are so bold. And I would never at that age, I still wouldn't do it now either, but to be so bold as a kid and use the F word, first of all, to an adult, that's one thing. But to do this, people are just getting too bold and crazy, and it's too bad that we have to have that.
Yeah, it's so wild. I posted on my Facebook, I went and protested critical race theory at the school board meeting, and I professionally, academically said, look, this is Marxist. I'd love to have a bigger discussion with you on it. We can even have like a formal debate, or we can do it through email. I just want to point out that this separatism is not good, and especially for the children to be learning that white people are all racist. I don't think that's good. It's Marxist. And so because I said that professionally in front of everybody at a school board meeting, I was dressed up and everything. I shook the professor's hand.
You were in trouble.
They banned me for a year for school. They got it quashed within 2 weeks. My lawyer hit him up with an Instagram, and it was good. But
that was really freedom of speech. You weren't threatening anybody's lives. No. You were stating your opinion.
It was all on camera.
Which was actually probably accurate.
Still. That's how brazen they are. Even though it was on camera, they still wanted to make up lies against me. So I get kicked off school for a year. It's a big old freaking deal. Meanwhile, these guys are over here threatening me at school board meetings. This kid's like cussing at the school board. Nothing happens to him. That's just how crazy this world is right now. Just to give you guys some contrast of what's going on in our community.
It is very, very crazy, and I was hoping I was going to find that gal's name, but you'll see it if you haven't. It'll be on the news, and you'll watch her. Okay, I think we've covered everything because Haley's probably said, okay, you guys, you can wrap it up now.
Yeah, we're on the front line here.
It's been great to have you back. Now, we're going to continue the show, the Chips and Salsa Show in New Mexico. Chipsters, we appreciate your support. Please pass this on, post it, do whatever. If you have some critique, please do. Thank you. We appreciate the comments too. Getting a lot of good commentary, and I want to thank everybody who helped out while you were gone. We were thinking we were going to try out some different co-hosts, so now you're back.
All the support, you all the love Chips and Salsa had. I've been watching from afar, and it's been great. I love the energy here. All the support, it's amazing. Share the post, like the post. This is one of the only ways, if you really think about it, this is the only way we're going to get what we want out of all this, is if people watch shows like this, share the information we start talking about. It's the only way to do it. Peacefully. I'm trying to do it peacefully here, guys.
Right. Subscribe and follow. And you can't believe a little link that you send to somebody because, they don't have time, they're busy. Just send them a link, text them a link, say, go to 30, whatever. Maybe it's a particular story you want them to see. But good information is very valuable.
Head to shoulder width ratio. Remember that. Head to shoulder width ratio.
Now everybody's going to go in the mirror. They're going to be checking out. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
Hip ratio. All that stuff.
Well,
think about it.
I think you should take us out in prayer.
I can do that. It's been a while. Thank you, Lord, so much for bringing us here together with these amazing people. And I am so grateful for all the amazing energy that you've given us so far to be here, spreading the word, being pro-human, helping out the children, helping out our local community, helping out our state and our country. Only through you, Lord, are we able to do this. And we praise all the blessings that you've given us, and we pray that you continue to give us the spirit and this energy to fight for humanity in your name, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Nicely done. I've been missing that. So until the next time we're here for another episode of the Chips and Salsa Show in New Mexico, my name is Alice Lara with
Zeke Rodriguez.
So guac on. Have a wonderful week. Love you, New Mexico.
Later, guys.